Any further, Mrs. Hockett and Mr. Jenkins are out of town on work-related meetings and have asked to join the council meeting by phone. Do I have a motion to allow them to do so?
Motion. Second.
Motion a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, how many of those meetings can we take, Ashley?
That's what we're going to research that. There's a certain number of them, but there's so many a year, but
It is, and it actually restarts with calendar year.
Yeah.
So,
And
Madam
do
Clerk.
there are so many days that you can do that, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's a policy or, if it's a number or a percentage, but the town has a policy on that you all adopted last year, I think.
What was it, like 2 meetings a year or something?
Something like that.
something and that's business related, I think, personal. Anyway, Madam Clerk.
We all have business.
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Hi.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
That is 4-0. Folks, you all on with us? Have you unmuted?
Yes, thank you.
Tanya, all right, very good. So tonight, as we start all of our meetings, we would take a moment of reflection. And I certainly hope that you all will keep in mind the family of Bill Brown, who was probably one of the finest men, one of the finest lawmen, one of the finest supervisors and board chair that Montgomery County has ever had. Bill passed away last Thursday night, Friday morning, and his service to the citizens of the county went for years and years and years. So if you'd take time, I'd appreciate it if you'd remember Bill and his family and his accomplishments in your thoughts. Thank you. Thank you. If you'd stand and join me for the pledge, I'm going to ask Councilman Bishop if he would return. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none, I will close that portion of the meeting. We'll go to public hearings, and I don't believe we have anything scheduled for tonight. Is that correct, Mr. Wingfield?
correct.
All right. We'll go to the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from January 14th, 2025, and the work session of January 15th, 2025. Monthly bill list and approval of a resolution to petition the Virginia State Department of Transportation for maintenance payments for certain streets in the urban maintenance inventory system.
So move. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Hi.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
That is 6-0.
Can I
Thank you
ask
very much.
something? Can I ask a quick question about this one? With the President Trump doing a lot of things with the grants and things like that, is this going to have some, like, are we going to have any issues with getting
This
this
is,
money? or
this is actually state
state
funds.
money? Okay, thank you.
So under introductions and presentations, we have Director of Community Health Holly Lesko from the Newer Valley Recovery Ecosystem Program to present on the Opioid Abatement Authority. Holly, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I work, for those of you who know, at the Newer Valley Regional Commission. And this is one of the big programs we work on in the Community Health Division. So thanks very much for giving me time today, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do some presenting here about the overall program as well as some of the things we're doing in year 2. So just to kind of set the tone, one of the reasons we're doing this recovery ecosystem is to take a look at the broad implications and the underlying factors that can drive addiction and particularly opioid abuse in our region. These are some pieces that we wanted to address some of the underlying concerns. We have 5 technical teams that look at everything from education and training, transportation, housing, outreach and treatment, and justice-involved individuals. And as you notice in the middle, one of our key components is belonging or civic muscle, which we think is really critical as civic engagement in our communities. When we set out, it's been in 2024 was when we first awarded the recovery ecosystem work. When we set out to start developing that 5-year program, we took a look at what already is working in the New River Valley, and one of the things that we know is we've got very strong regional partners in our community who do a lot of work in the areas of community service and treatment, such as our New River Health District, our New River Valley Community Services. We have some very strong partners at the table to build the 5-year program, and they helped us take a look at everything from prevention through harm reduction and what are the things that were needed locally as well as regionally in the area. Of course, one of the things we knew is we needed really strong leadership to make sure that this program gets guided effectively. We're lucky in the New River Valley that we have a history of collaboration. Just today, I think it was, that they were doing their joint government budget reviews in the region, and it's something that's been going on in this area for a really long time to take a look at what's needed regionally. And we also have very strong governmental leadership that includes the 4 counties, the city, and our 2 largest county seats, including Christiansburg and town of Pulaski, who sit on our leadership community. Taking a look at what's going on in year 2, just wanted to give you some information about the numbers. This, in 2025, the region was awarded $2.2 million in Opioid Abatement Authority funding. That's competitive funding that's coming into the area to support work in the region. Also, each of the 4 counties in the city that receive direct opioid abatement money have contributed funding to match this in the almost a little over $240,000, and that puts total programming for, and we rolled forward some money from the first year because it took a long time for the Opioid Abatement Authority to release funding, so we didn't get started as quickly as we wanted, so there was some roll forward. So this year we have $4.4 million in total FYI programming. To date, we've received $5.6 million in competitive award. That includes year 1, 2024 and 2025, and we're expected to receive even more significant money in year 3 if our renewal is approved. One of the things I wanted to say that we're, some of the work that is continuing in this area is we're continuing to do trauma training and expansion and prevention with our public schools across the region. They're very interested in how do we address some of the traumas that are impacting children and families that opioid addiction and use can have in communities. We're also growing our peer center footprint. Some of you might be aware of the 401 Peer Center at New River Valley Community Services in Radford. Giles and Floyd are both developing peer centers this year with some opioid abatement money as well as their direct funding. We're also working to build a community support fund with the Community Foundation, trying to create a fund that is using both direct money from each of the local governments as well as competitive money to address needs such as when somebody needs to have utilities paid or something that will help people prevent them from becoming unhoused, or also prevent them, help them get into treatment, maybe getting treatment started, or help people stay employed. All of these things are things we know that make a big difference in helping to prevent people from becoming addicted, as well as to support people who are in recovery for addiction. Also, we're funding 2 recovery programs. New River Community College is a new partner this year, and they're doing some recovery partners in their area. And then we also have a program in Pulaski with Instill Mindfulness that is doing some peer recovery work. One of the other pieces that we're doing in the area, I'll get to my notes here so I don't forget what I'm saying, is we've continued to do mailers throughout the area. We know that that different families are affected differently in the area, trying to make them aware of what resources they can turn to, what if it's somebody in their family who's already having addiction issues, or if they have concerns that make them at higher risk. We're also strengthening our web presence, making both educational information and resources more available across the board. We're working with our higher education to build outreach, again, in our K-12 program, because college kids are cooler than old people to talk to young people about some of this, as well as talking to people who have lived experience to explain how recovery is possible. And these are all really important steps for young people and adults dealing with this. Lessons learned. We're now we're about 18 months into the funding of this program. It's hard work. Obviously, one of the reasons that people continue to struggle with addiction, both at the individual level and the impacts on community, has been going on probably since the beginning of time, not necessarily opioids, but different things. And so it's work that's really hard at the individual level as well as the community level. We appreciate all of the partners who are working really hard and trying to find ways to think about doing things in new ways or to expand program. We also know that progress doesn't look the same in each community. All of our communities have different ways of engaging, and we want to make sure that we don't make, as I said, the perfect be the enemy of the good. We want to try new things. These are opportunities for us to pilot and grow programming, as well as it's an opportunity to build relationships and leverage some of this funding. One of the things that we're already doing is taking a look at where both state and federal money, some of this money might be used to match programming in other spaces. It's also, we've been developing a really strong and good relationship with our state agencies who also receive some direct opioid abatement funding, as well as with the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority, uses us as a model regularly. The New River Valley is seen as one of their successful collaborative projects. It's also, we believe, an opportunity for us to learn at taking a look at how we could bring in programming and resources. If one community is doing something that somebody else is interested in, how can we move it along into different areas in the region? This is the website where you can find a lot more information about what's going on in the region in the opioid abatement space. We also have an Instagram and a Facebook page where we try to get information out to various different ages. We're not cool enough to be on anything else yet, but we are trying to talk with young people to have people promote our work wherever they are in those spaces. So with that, if there's questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Yeah, are you guys a nonprofit or for-profit?
This is a government agency, and each one of the the partners who are funded are nonprofit organizations.
So, since you're a governmental agency, I think it will be okay, I guess, I should ask town council, if they will approve for Randy Winfield to add that to our banner for the town. It would be really good for people to get more information about it.
Happy if you're,
Will you guys be okay with that?
I'm not sure what you said. I didn't hear
I
you.
would like to add their website information for our webpage for the banner, if possible, or at least somewhere in our website.
If our system allows us to do that, we'd have to double check.
We can post it somewhere on our site. I think that the banner's kind of more for current information, but we could post it somewhere on our
I
site.
think that would be good.
Yeah, because you have the anti-stigma campaign, and there's posters like out at the mall and different places that are all over the New River Valley, and so that's more along the lines of what I think you're.
But
Well,
I
I think
think
you want
the
is
more
that-
information that
Sure.
we put out there, especially, the repetition is what gets people going sometimes. And I think if we put it everywhere, people eventually will notice it and will tell someone that needs the help. So, thank you so much for the information.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Can you tell me how much was it? I know that the money, you were talking about the money a little bit ago and stuff. Is that state funded, or how was that funded? I'm sorry.
Most of them, it's
that from the
all from
lawsuits?
settlements with
Yeah, that's
with
what
the
I
drug
thought.
companies who did a lot of opioid dumping, particularly in the Appalachian area. Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thanks.
Holly. Next, we have our citizens' comment section. If you would like to address council, come to the podium, your name and address, and your time is 3 minutes. Anyone here to address council?
Chris Wallace, 1370 Rigby. Yeah, I went to the Emergency Services Committee meeting yesterday, and definitely enlightening, apparently. Ms. Hockett doesn't want to sell that prime $5 million real estate. She wants to hang on to it until you can find something else, and I doubt you'll look for some $10 million vanity fire rescue police project. Apparently, it's too much to wait for the county to finish its study and possibly get some money from the county. Unfortunately, that it appears that some of you up there are more concerned with vanity and having some sort of thing to say, look what I did, than actually looking out for the taxpayers of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Patrick Melander, 495 Silverleaf Drive. First, just wanted to say congrats to the recipients of the facade grants. However, I'd like to ask council if, that's something I think probably shouldn't be done every year. It just feels like the town picking winners and losers of local businesses. I like the businesses, but it really, to me, sprucing up your property seems like that should really only fall to the responsibility of that business rather than us taxpayers who have no say in it. And I looked at the list this year. I like all the businesses on there, but I noticed there's a couple of restaurant franchises, including one huge multinational one. And I think, they've got to be able to help out their franchisees with these things rather than having them, come to the town to ask for money. So just, not a fan of the, picking and choosing, just giving, $5,000. It adds up, especially every year. And I know restaurants already in town kind of struggle. We've got I think it's the second highest meals tax in the state, 7.5%. So I think something that could help restaurants as well as us who go to them is, finding a way to slash that. And I know there's lots of, you'll be losing revenue, but there's plenty of things that can be cut. And I know the gentleman before me, it sounded like, I think he threw out $10 million. Something like that is a good place to start. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Beth Umberger, Depth, my address, 915 College Street. I just wanted to thank the council. College Street has for years had really bad drainage problems there, and there's been new construction and I'll be interested to see. Luckily, we haven't had any big storms since that's been put in, and I think I understand it's phase 1 and there's a phase 2. So just thank you so much because that really makes a difference in our neighborhood.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Christine Waltz, 1370 Rigby Street. I wanted to add on to my husband's. I went to your fire and EMS meeting yesterday, and I thought there was a lot of interesting information. But I was a bit confused because I know one council member has said that he likes to honor the wishes of previous council, and $4.5 million, that revenue was intended to cover the cost of that park. So I was wondering how we get to a point where we say we don't want to sell it and we're going to just go ahead and keep it when that $4.5 million in revenue was supposed to help to pay for it, according to previous council members.
To be quite open about this, that piece of property is for sale. Still for sale, has not been off the market. If an offer comes in during the time we're negotiating, that property will be sold for its intent, and the funds will be applied as we suggested they would be. But we've not taken anything off the market.
But yesterday, that was what the recommendation was.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yesterday, when your two council members met, they said they were going to make that recommendation.
Takes 6 to pass, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
I was looking to see if it was on there. I just
Takes 4, actually. Thank you, but we'll see. And a good night at 6.
Okay.
Anyone else? Hearing no one, I will close the citizens' comment section. Committee reports, Mr. Bishop,
No reports.
Ms. Hicks.
Yes. Obviously, this took a little bit to come to town council for the facade grant with the central business where Kim and I were part of it. There were 4.
We're going to award those down here.
Yeah, but I was just going to discuss a couple of things, especially, is that okay?
That's fine, that's fine.
Okay. Since the gentleman and the public has spoken about this, we did, we'll talk more discussion about that in a little bit, but I do think that, you bring out a great point, and it's something that it really should be discussed as far as the facade grants and monies to be given out. And that has been part of one of our talks that we were gonna have this, before our budget year. So if we could, I would love to get a second to add that to a follow-up meeting, or maybe an agenda or something that we can discuss about, about what are we gonna do with these facade grants.
I think that's a budget work session topic.
Yeah, but
It
we
is.
I would really like to discuss that, especially since we had I think 13 or 18 applications that came in, and a lot of them were just really things that residential and there was such a mixture of things that it makes it very difficult to really help businesses. And it really becomes what you were talking about. You're picking losers and winners. And so I do think that needs to come up to one of our further discussions for the future, near future.
Yeah, I would like to make a comment about that, too. I actually agree. I don't like giving other people's money to a few people in town. I was put on the committee and did what I thought my job was. When we tried to make changes early on, we were fraught with rebuttal, and it didn't end well. It actually ended up with an employee leaving the town. So we were trying to do what we thought we were supposed to be doing, but there's a lot of problems. It either needs to disappear or be revamped. More than two-thirds of the applicants didn't qualify according to the qualifications that we had set out. And, under the guidelines that are currently there, it makes it very difficult to give the money out, first of all, but I'm in agreement.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
So tonight, we had the Water and Waste Committee meeting, and we had sorry about that. A big part of this is Ms. Bowman's first meeting with the committee, so we went over about 12 topics to bring her up to date on everything from the Hickok Street to the College Street Phase 1, Phase 2 portion of that project. And again, there's a myriad of topics we discussed that was more in line with making sure that we were all up to date on everything that was discussed. And I think Ms. Hockett's going to discuss our fire and EMS meeting from last night.
Okay. Ms. Hockett?
Yeah, so the Emergency Services Committee met last night, and we did have some discussions about the request we'd like to make to the county. Just for council's awareness, what we discussed was requesting a percentage from the county to contribute to our annual budget. That's based on the percentage of calls we run in the county, looking at a 3-year rotating average. So we don't have that number tonight because that was something we did request that Scott and Chief Hanks collect for us. So they're working on that, and then we will work on drafting that letter to the county, and we'll share that, obviously, with all of council. The plan is to share that in 2 weeks at the next council meeting. We also talked a little bit about the future of development for a second station in the Peppersbury corridor. We're working on a timeline, just something to sort of target our efforts and just to kind of keep us on track with planning and preparation in developing something along that corridor. It could be before the county study. It could be after the county study. We really don't know what the county's plans are in developing their study. So we're just trying to make a way forward, and we'll adjust as needed. And I think the last item is, we discussed the transition from a volunteer staff to a paid staff at the fire department. And so there's some work to do in planning for that. But, just looking at how many positions do we need to add each year for the next 10 to 15 years in order to make that transition successful and continue responding to the residents. And I think that's it, unless Tim has anything else to add.
Nope, sounds good.
Thank you.
I have a question. I thought, so we had a work session just the other day, and I am glad that one of the citizens, I think it was Mr. Walls and Mrs. Walls, that came out and spoken about this, about these meetings and stuff. I watched some of the meeting from last night. Obviously, I was at the last meeting where we were supposed to be discussing about what we were going to be asking from the county. I'm actually glad that Mr. Kitts is here, since he is also a representative with the county, I believe. But I do think, I think that those conversations as far as the percentage and everything were supposed to be discussed, or something was supposed to be discussed at that work session. And I do feel like even the last work session, what we were really talking about was, what we're going to do with that land over there by Pepper's Ferry, by the park. But it did not come up. I thought we were going to have numbers and everything, Tanya today and Tim, but it doesn't seem like we got numbers. You don't have a percentages, and we still don't have information. And about, that other fire station, I wish that, that you guys can come and tell us a little bit more what your plans are before you actually go to the county, because the reality is, I am in 100% approval of waiting for the county to do their comprehensive plans, especially since they are already planning to build a fire station, most likely by the water, by the water authority. That's less than 2 miles away from the park we just built. And so, we're talking about, the need of firemen in the future. We're also talking about, firemen right now. And for the budget, obviously, we're talking about, the numbers of the firemen that we need every year. But for sure, we need to make sure that we keep at least those 2 firemen every year going on, and just pay 2 positions every year for sure, to try to see if we can catch up somehow and give some breathing room for Mr. Hanks and everybody at the fire department. But my suggestion will be not only to wait for that, because I do think that those things are important. If we are expecting for the county to help us, I think it's not like they're not trying to work with us. I feel, isn't that correct, Mr. Kitts? I guess I am just hoping that we can get the help from them, and I think it will be, my vote will be to wait for that comprehensive study. Not for the percentage that we are going to ask right now for contribution, but obviously, what are they going to be doing with fire department and everything else? Because the way I was looking at it, it was going to be almost 40 employees, and then as, by the time these volunteers retired, and 40 employees, if you were to think about even just paying them, at least $50,000 a year, that's definitely $2 million, like $2 million a year out of our town budget. And not only that, but we're talking about building, land, and everything else, and I think that went over $20 million. The town itself, when we have a county that we pay those services for, we are not paying our taxes right now just to pay, for our parks and things like that, but definitely we need support from the county. So we definitely need to work with them.
I think I missed what your question was, but I did hear you mention that we were talking about percentages. So Scott and Chief Hanks did come ready with a percentage of the county calls that are run. But in the meeting, we discussed looking at a 3-year average so that there is some consistency in the requests that we make of the county. We think it makes sense. We think it's fair. We also think it helps to budget a little more easily and be a little more predictable. But we didn't have that number last night, so they are working on getting that number.
When do you think you'll have it?
We said 2 weeks. We're going to bring it to the next meeting.
Like I said, the goal is to have that letter ready in the next 2 weeks for the next town council meeting. So it will be before then, and you'll see what that percentage is, and that'll be included in the letter.
Okay.
Very good. And that's a letter that the council will instruct either the town manager or myself to send to the Board of Supervisors. Thank you. Forgot it, Ms. Bowman.
Nothing.
Thank you. Mr. Jenkins?
Just that Tanya and I are looking forward to getting our Central Business Committee up and running later in February at this point and moving forward with that as well. So more information to come.
Thank you. Under discussions by the mayor and town council, Town of Christiansburg Community Development Block Grant, CDBG 2023, Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, which is the CAPER. The public hearing was held January 14th, 2025.
So move.
Second.
Moving second. Comments, questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 6-0. Thank you very much. Town Council appointment of a council representative to the Montgomery Tourism Development Council for a term of, and this is going to be a term from January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. And I am recommending the appointment of Tim Wilson.
Second.
I need a motion. Somebody got, I can't
Okay.
motion.
I make a
can't mo-
motion to,
Okay, you got the motion.
Go ahead.
You got the second.
I make a motion to December of 2025, yes.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know, but in the agenda showed up different, and I know you did mention it, but
I got this.
just making sure.
Do you have a second?
I guess I do.
Ms. Henline?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That's 6-0. Thank you very much. Town Council recommendation to the Montgomery County Board of Supervisors for the appointment of Billy Hanks and the reappointment of Billy Hanks and the appointment of Joshua Settlage and Scott Shippey to the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Commission for the term from January 1, 2025 to December 31,
Make a
2025.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 6-0. Thank you. The award of facade grants, do you have those for us, or
Yeah,
do you have?
We do.
Okay.
So, Central Business Committee, along with the facade grant selection committee, has chosen the potential grant winners for the current facade grant program. A list of potential awardees is provided. CrossFit Christiansburg, 1085 North Franklin Street, $5,000, painting the facade of the building. McAdoo's Incorporated, 37 West Main Street, $5,000, replacement of the existing street level windows. What that means is the down below,
Street level? is that
the
right?
ones that are on the bottom, they were asking for windows on the top and everything when there is actually not real windows right now, but, so we are not providing any money for because that will include architectural design and everything else, and the committee decided not to award them, for that, just for the level street windows.
Street level, oh, sure, okay. Those are the big plate
And
glass windows.
I think Rita was going to work on that contract, just to make sure that they are clear about that. New River Installation Company, 1270 Roanoke Street, $5,000, replacement of garage doors, period specific, and replace awning separately from the business name. And that was saying there, obviously, we're not including anything with a sign. That's why the business name has to be out of it. They can choose to do that with additional money from them. And then the Subway, 26 North Franklin Street, $5,000, is the installation of handrails and hardscaping that will enclose outdoor seating with flower boxes. And those were the recommendations after, I mean, it was a lot of work. It was really a lot of work. A lot of the people who were asking for money, you know, they have done the work already. That seems to be an issue for the last years too. I mean, it's just, you cannot apply for,
Is that your motion to approve those?
yeah, I make a motion to approve and then I guess we can
Second.
discuss.
Very good.
But then, you know, there's so many things, and I hope that, you know, that when we talk about, you know, how we are going to be giving money out, and if we are going to continue to give money out for this, you know, that we do it on the right way. The committee, the grant selection committee group was absolutely amazing. They did a great job. They were well-informed, and they obviously did a lot of the work for us, don't you think, Kim?
Thank you.
And Rita, thank you.
Ms. Henline?
Councilman Bishop,
I have some questions. I mean, you didn't call for that.
Oh, questions. I thought we had them right there.
Well,
Questions.
I couldn't tell.
Question, yeah.
All right. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, because I thought when we started this facade grant, it was more or less to bring buildings back up to the original standards. My concern was like replacing of the existing level windows at McAdoo's. How does that fall within that grant application? Also, Subway, you know, placing flower boxes out. I didn't think we were doing that type of stuff.
I'm going to tell you,
Well,
those
you
were
tell
the
me.
best ones.
Well,
We
those are
had
the best.
The best of the worst, huh?
Jeez.
We literally had grants, people asking for money to pave their driveways. We had questions about, you know, we have had questions in the past about cutting their grass for the year. We had about planting bushes. We had about, I mean,
Okay.
residential. I'm not joking.
Well, I believe you. Maybe-
These were the best out of what we could come up. And, you know, it really makes you, like what he was saying, he was absolutely right on the money.
Yeah.
Is this something we want to continue to do?
I mean-
Because what happened was you were in those meetings where we extended, you know, we made it less amount of years for people to qualify. Then we also worked on doing these grants through the whole town, not just the downtown, because we ran out of businesses downtown. But you know, a lot of the issues too were people asking for things that were just maintenance things, you
Okay.
know? This is not a maintenance list. It
No.
should not be a maintenance list. And I completely agree with you, but,
Did they get your question answered?
Yes.
well,
Any other
Indeed,
comments or
seriously.
questions?
I mean, and I hope that you,
You've covered your point. I understand totally. I do.
Okay.
I do. I get
We
your
good.
point. Ms. Henline, Madam Clerk, whatever you're going by tonight,
So this is to approve.
Councilman Bishop,
this is for the approval.
No.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
aye.
Councilwoman Hockett, Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
So that is 5-1. Congratulations to the recipients and to the committees for the work that you did. So we'll go back and take a look at this in the very near future, is
Please
what we
do.
want to do.
Please do.
Downtown parking.
Of course, we recently purchased the property behind the police department, and we own the bank drive-through. If you noticed, Public Works has that taped off, and they're planning on demolishing the drive-through next week. We've stripped the building, and just basically before we tear it down, since tearing it down is final, I just want to confirm with council that you want us to proceed.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't think we take a vote on that. I think all we need to do is a head nod.
Yes.
Let's get that eyesore down.
Well,
Okay.
it's been
Yeah.
in the budget and everything else. And then,
Thank
I
you.
do,
We might save a little money. I think Public Works is going to try to demolish it themselves.
that would be awesome.
Staff reports, town manager.
Just if you want any discussion, I know Tim had mentioned downtown parking signage. If you want any discussion in regards to anything like that, you could have it under the downtown parking as well.
That would be good. So you can, we can get the tourism to actually help us pay for signs there and at the new Huckleberry Park.
You know, staff to try to look into, like maybe Virginia Tourism Grant.
The tourism grant is actually giving money for way signs.
Yeah, Ms. Bolt is familiar with those things, and so she'll be the contact person to go to when we're
Poor
looking at those things. You did go to the conferences, and you learned a lot. Very good. Thank you. Town manager reports.
Okay, just mention that, of course, we have the February 19th work session. We will have a regular session before then. If you have any topics for the 19th, or if you want to meet, I guess think between now and the 11th, whether you want to meet and what topics you might want for the 19th.
Okay.
And also, I'll just remind council that your statement of economic interest is due.
Saturday.
February 3rd, I believe.
It is, that's
officially,
right.
Because falling on the weekend, so.
Okay.
So we love to talk about the emergency stuff, about the, can we wait for the county to do their study as far as that goes for the land and everything, and then just continue to sell the land on the Peppers Ferry Road.
I think
And then
that's
also
what
to
we're
speak
planning on
about-
doing.
And then also to speak about the FAST grant, if we have any time. I really think that needs to be discussed before any work is put into that, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I thought we were going to put the land talk on there as well. The other piece of land that you wanted moved to private session, is that going to be tonight?
That's
or-
tonight.
It's tonight. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Broughton?
I do have something, thank you, Mayor. Just a clarification, Ms. Hicks asked a question about remote participation earlier. I think I said 2 meetings. It's 2 meetings or 25% of the meetings, whichever is greater. It just took me a minute to look up the statute, so I wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Any other staff reports? Madam Finance Director, you got your feet on the ground yet? Scott? Very good. Under council reports, Mr. Bishop,
No report.
Ms. Hicks?
No, just thank you for speaking about Mr. Brown today.
Okay. I'm losing my thoughts now. Ms. Hockett?
Nothing to report.
All right, Mr. Jenkins, while I have you on the phone?
No report.
Ms. Bowman?
No, I did want to thank Retta, though, for all of her work on the facade grant program.
Thank you.
Can I second that? I mean, she did walk, she took pictures, she went and talked to these people, she did a lot of legwork. It was a lot for her.
Very good. Any other, Tim?
Nothing.
Sorry.
I was afraid what you were going to say, so I thought if I just blew by you, you wouldn't do anything. All right, so, under other business,
So I make a motion request for a closed meeting under Code of Virginia 2.2-3711, A3, for the discussion or consideration of the application or real property for a public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. The closed meeting is being held for discussion of potential purchase of property for parks and recreation.
Second the motion.
motion. And a
Well, he
second?
made the
I
motion,
seconded
you
the
made the
motion.
second.
Got a motion and a second. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop,
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 6-0. We will take about a 3 or 4 minute recess to clear the room and let us turn off our microphones.